Hello friends, good evening. Welcome to PDF for Exams YouTube channel. This is day 35. We are learning environment, and in this video we will discuss about endangered species. Since last 3 days I was not able to make videos due to festival reasons. I hope you understand, but from now onwards I'll try my level best to be regular and make the video on daily basis. Okay, so let's see what we are going to study in this video. So this video is all about the endangered species. So before learning what are these endangered species, you should understand the term itself. What does this endangered species mean? So you know very well what are these species. We understand species very well. Like we humans, we may be different in complexion, our physique, hair color, skin color, our physical condition. So we may differ from each other, but still all humans belong to same species. And what is that species? That species is called as Homo sapiens. Whether it is a man or someone is a woman, still all belongs to Homo sapien. Every human belongs to this species. Similarly, all kind of organisms, plant, animals, whatever they are existing on the earth, which are living, like plants and animals, organism, insect, bird, sorry, everyone has their own species. This is species. Okay, now the other term is endangered. Endangered means at the verge of extinction or at the risk of extinction. That means any species or any organism, any animal which is about to extinct from the planet or from their habitat or about to completely die. I'm not talking about one individual animal, it is talking about the entire species. Like, although it won't happen very easily, but if all humans disappear or anyhow die from the earth, that would be called as endangered. That means Homo sapiens would be endangered or at the verge of extinction. Like other animals, so there are many animals and plants which have already extinct, and whereas some animals and plants are at the verge of extinction, and that needs to be protected. For that very purpose we are studying this chapter, so that we can know what exactly endangered species mean, what are the factors that are causing this extinction, and how can they be protected. Fine, so these all things we'll be studying in this video. So let's read out the definition what is written, and after that we'll continue with the factors or the causes of endangerment. So over here it is written, as I said, an endangered species is a type of organism that is threatened by extinction. That means it might extinct in some time in near future, and it is being threatened, and for that very purpose it needs to be protected. Okay, so this we mean by endangerment, and there are several causes for this endangerment of species, or they are threatened by various reasons. So what are those causes? So those causes are majorly because of human intervention. And what kind of human intervention? Like hunting, intentional extermination, and accidental or intentional introduction to alien species that outcompete the native species for environmental resources. So we'll study them in detail. Don't worry if you're not understanding over here. We'll understand every topic in detail in further video. Fine. So starting with causes of endangerment. So what are these causes of endangerment of any species? So it is not very narrow issue, it's very broad issue. And how it is broad? Because it is not only relevant or related to endangerment of any particular species, but endangerment of that habitat where they're living. And what is habitat? Habitat is the place where that organism, animal, plant, bird, insect resides. So the species which are at endangered or which are threatened at endangerment, their habitat is also involved in this endangerment. Okay, so what else we are going to study? And there are several problems, there are issues that can be resolved, but until and unless this human intervention is stopped, we can't protect our natural environment. Because natural habitat means the habitat which are occurring naturally, and if we intervene in that habitats, it will automatically be disturbed, and the problem would be associated to the species which are residing there. Okay, so let's see what are the causes. Individually see what are the causes. Of the very first cause of any species being at endangerment zone is habitat loss. We have already seen what we mean by habitat. Habitat means the place where any species are residing. Loss of that place would cause any species to be endangered. So if we understand, or if we compare with ourselves, for example, if you're living in your house and due to some natural disaster, if your house collapses, so what would happen? You would not be able to stay at that place, and if this natural disaster occurs in very huge area, and there would be no services available so that you can move out of this area, or you won't be suitable, or the other place won't be suitable for you to stay in there. So what will happen? After some time, if you are capable enough to adapt the situation, well and good, or else you might die, or you would be at verge of extinction if only few peoples are remaining only in this area, whereas there is no other person in other area. Similarly happens with all kinds of animal, plants and birds and insect. So if they are staying in their habitat, if they are living there, and if there is some issues with their living place only, then they become to verge of extinction, or they are being threatened, so that in near future they might become endangered or extinct. Okay, and what are reason behind this habitat loss? Of course, again, humans are the very important factors. Humans only make or they cut the forest, slash and burn. Agriculture is being practiced by humans. So every activity which humans intervene with the nature, and because of that intervention, the habitat loss of all the organisms living in forest or wherever there is human intervention, because of that habitat is being lost, and because of this habitat loss, the species which are residing there completely extinct, or they are at the verge of extinction. Fine. So this is about the habitat loss. See, naturally what happens, naturally if there is any change naturally, so that change is very gradual. That means it's very slow in nature, and the species living in those places can adapt themselves according to the situation. For example, if any climate is changing, so we know climate change in almost 30 to 32 years, not less than that. It takes 30 plus years to change itself, and if it is so gradual, then the species living in any habitat can adapt and live easily. Whereas if human intervene, for example, there is a forest, and in forest several kind of animals are living, several plants are living, and if humans start cutting these forests, what will happen? The animals living there might be two possibilities: either they will die, or they will shift, or they will compress to lesser area. For example, if this was the huge forest and small part of forest is being cut, so the animal residing over here would be go to the other part of the forest, and because of that there would be disturbances in ecosystem, and lots of disturbances would be there, because of which either these animals might become extinct, or the animal residing in those area, animal or plants, might become extinct. Fine. So I hope you understand this habitat loss. Next is introduction of exotic species. Now what does this introduction of exotic species mean? See, how does exotic species are being introduced. So for example, see, there are natural habitat of every organism, every plant, every animal, every bird, every insect, and they are living with harmony with nature, they are living very well. But what happened when any third kind of party, not third, I would not say third kind of species, but the species whose native place is not there, who is not living in that place, if that kind of species is being introduced into the natural habitat, it might become problematic to the species residing over there. It's not necessary that they will cause problem. Sometimes they might adjust and they will move on along with the natural phenomenon. But in most of the cases, what happen? They disrupt the entire ecological system. What is the ecological system, or what is the ecosystem? In ecosystem, we've already seen that interaction between the biotic and abiotic components. So there are several kind of species residing there, and if any exotic species is being introduced into their ecosystem, they might create problem either by preying on them, by consuming them, or consuming the resources which are consumed by the native species. And I hope you understand the native species. Native species are the species which are residing. So I will just take an example so that you understand what do you mean by native species. Native word, by this native word, I hope this is very much clear or known to you. You might have heard, or while filling any kind of form, you might have seen what is your permanent address and what is your correspondence address. So over here also it won't be clear. Native means from where you belong to or from where you were born. That is called native place. And what is the correspondence place? Correspondence place, that means where you have been for studying or for working or from other purposes, that is called correspondence place. Similarly, all kind of animal, they have their own native place where they are born and they keep living over there. So if any other species from other place is being introduced into their ecosystem, there would obviously be disturbances. You can understand by yourself. So for example, if you're staying in some place in Uttar Pradesh, and if you migrate to other state like Maharashtra, so there would be disturbances. If not to Maharashtra, then you yourself might be disturbed. So see, there are two possibilities. I'm not saying that introduction of this exotic species would always cause problem. It might cause problem to the species which has been introduced into that ecosystem, or the other case would be that the species which has been introduced would cause problem to the native species. Okay, I hope this is very much clear. And how they will cause problem, you can just understand by understanding the food web. In last videos, we have already discussed about the food web and food chain. So these exotic species might create problem to the food chain or food web. And since these food web and food chain are very complex, if there is disturbances in these chain, there would be harm to lots of species, not only to one species but many species would be affected because of disturbance in food chain or food web. Okay, let's move to the next point, and that is overexploitation and how this overexploitation is done. So overexploitation means simply consuming more than required. Exploitation only means utilization. So if it is being overexploited, that means it is being overused. So how it will be overused? The natural resources. Again, humans are the responsible for overexploitation. So what do humans do? Humans sometimes they go for hunting, they go for fishing. So a very good example is given over here, a whale. When it was given over here, it is given unrestricted whaling during 20th century is an example of overexploitation, and whaling industry brought many species of whale to extremely low population sizes. So what happened if in oceans there were 100 kind of species or 100 kind of whales were living in ocean? Because of this overexploitation, humans started whaling. Whaling means killing these whales for some industrial purpose, for medicinal purpose, for consumption. So there might be several reasons behind the whaling. Because of this, what happened? Many species of this whale extincted or they were dead. That means that species were no more present in oceans. So this is very good example of overexploitation. Similarly, there are many examples of this overexploitation, like elephant tusks were broken for some jewelry purpose and some other purpose. So population of elephant was also becoming extinct. So there are several examples on same condition. Okay, so I hope you understand this overexploitation also, and there are some other purposes, other factors also which are responsible for extinction of these species. And what are these? These are diseases, population, limited distribution, and more factors that threaten various animal species. So disease, you understand this very well. If any disease spread in any one species, for example, if you might have heard about the bird flu, or there are several kind of diseases, when it strikes one species, it may spread very quickly and make that entire species extinct or completely finished from the place where they're residing. Okay, and there are many other examples like genetic protection, pathogens issue, and if some disease is being introduced in any species. So an example is over here, rabies and canine distemper virus are presently destroying carnivores population of East Africa. So what are carnivores animal? I hope this is very simple concept. I'm not explaining this. So these rabies and canine distemper viruses. These viruses are destroying all the carnivores population in East Africa. So these are the other factors which are responsible for extinction of species. Okay, and domestic animals. There are several domestic animals like cat, dogs. So these animals might also transmit few disease and affect the wild population. Okay, so we have seen all the factors which are responsible for endangerment of species. Now moving further, and we'll see protection of endangered species at national level. That means at a national level what has been done to protect these animals and bird and plant species. So we very well know that these endangered species not only comprises of just animal, but it comprises of large variety of rare species, wild animal, aquatic animal, and insects. So it comprises of every kind of organism present on the earth which are endangered or which are at the risk of being extinct from the planet. And Indian wildlife, of course, consists of numerous species of bird, mammal, reptiles, and well known for comprising its richest variety of bird. India is place of diversity. We know with this very well. Not only diversity in culture, but we too have diversity in species of all kind of organism living in this country. So because of this diversity, we too have some protection rules, regulation in our country itself, whereas at international level also. So there are several organizations like Worldwide Fund, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources (IUCN), and Wildlife Institute of India. These organizations are responsible for protection of these endangered species, and this organization is very important over here. International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources (IUCN). You should remember this because this is the organization which publishes Red Book. Red Book is a book in which all endangered species are being listed from all over the world. Fine, so you should know this point also. And next is a few statistics about the endangered species in India. We'll just read them out and see what are they. So in India, we have 1.30 lakh endangered animal species, and it's not clear. Some experts say that it might be more than this also, but the calculated value is 1.3 lakh endangered animal species, and this account for 8.86 of the world's mammal. This is huge population of mammal which is at the verge of extinction, or which are called as endangered species. Okay, and this mammal extended over 186 genera, 45 families, 13 orders, out of which around 89 species are listed in threatened in IUCN Red List. So as I said, IUCN is very important organization. You should read the updated list, because in examination many often the question arises from this book. That means not directly from this book, but the species which are at the verge of extinction. So questions might arise in this section. Fine. And the endangered species, these are being divided into 4 main categories. What are these 4 categories? Let's read them out and we'll see what it means. So the very first category is critically endangered. Critically endangered, by the name itself it is clear, that means that should be taken very important care, as they are about just at the verge of extinction and might extinct very quickly. Next is endangered. So these are threatened and at our risk of endangered or at the risk of extinct, but still they can be protected. Next is vulnerable, and last is threatened. So these are the 4 kind of endangered species which are being listed, or you can say the classification of endangered species. Okay, and this classification was done by IUCN, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, and Wildlife Institute of India. So these 2 organizations are responsible for classification of endangered species in India. Fine. So we'll see few species which come under each of the category. So the very first category is critically endangered and endangered species. So these are 2 categories, the first 2 category. Under this category, the Siberian tiger, golden leopard, black, it has black marks, and we too have, and the number of these species have been reduced to 14,000. That means only 14,000 kind animal of these species are still there in India, and remaining are extinct, or you can say they are at the verge of extinction. Okay, and the other animal which are critically endangered are Royal Bengal tigers, and pet trade, zoos, research, as well as oriental medicine. So these Royal Bengal tigers were used for pet trade, zoos, research and oriental medicine, because of which these are also at the verge of extinction, and they are being given special protection in wildlife sanctuaries. We'll see what are these wildlife sanctuaries and national parks later. There are few critically endangered species, so let's see what are those. So we have 172 endangered species in India, and all those have been made in last 60 years. A very good effort has been made to protect them in last 60 years, like natural habitats has been developed, like wildlife parks and national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. So what are these wildlife sanctuaries and national parks? So these are few areas which have been decided by these organizations like IUCN and Wildlife Sanctuary of India. So these organizations have decided these areas wherein all kind of illegal activities are prohibited and animals reside there in their natural habitats. So they are not artificially built, only the area is described that this area belongs to wildlife sanctuary or a national park. Okay, so there are several action or laws regarding this wildlife conservation chronology. So we'll see how from when it started. So the wildlife conservation is nothing new. It started right from the 3rd BC. That means even before our calendar started, it existed from 3rd BC, when King Ashoka, he has made special rules for prohibiting the killing of certain species of animal. That means he had made the rule that certain species, few species, should not be killed by any hunters. In 1873, the very first act, that was Madras Act. So during this 1873, India was under British rule. So there was an act passed by British rule, and it says that indiscrimination, destruction of wild elephant. This was the act under British regime, we have already seen. So in 1873, this wild elephant were under protection. Next act came in 1887. This was Wild Bird Protection Act 1887. So this was the first act which enabled the protection of bird. Till now we had animals, okay, and especially during the breeding season, these birds would not be hunted or poached or killed during the breeding season. Now the next act which come into existence was 1912, the Wild Bird and Animal Protection Act of 1912. So this was the first time when a codified law was enacted. Codified means a written law was enacted. That means prohibiting or killing the animal or capturing wild animal, and disobedience of which would entail a penal offense. That means now this became a punishable offense. If anyone start killing or captured any wild animal, there were few species which might be decided. If any hunting or capturing of those animals or birds were done, those were under a punishable offense, and those could be punished very well. Next act is 1935. This is the Birds and Animal Protection Act number 27 of 1935. So in 1935, if you have studied polity, you might know a very important, this is a part of very important constitution from this 1935 Indian Act. Many part of a constitution is being taken, so this is very important. So during this time, the the Wild Bird and Animal Protection Act came, and in this it was given that the provincial government could by the notification set aside an area to be a sanctuary for protection and growth of wild animals and birds. So as I said, any area could be announced as a sanctuary where all kind of wild animals and birds could be protected. Not all kind, but the animals and birds which are residing in those areas and which are at the verge of extinction. Next is 1952 Indian Board of Wildlife, this Megan Law. 1972 Wildlife Protection Act. This act you should study, although this has been updated regularly. Next is 1973 the Project Tiger. As we have already seen that tiger was also at the verge of extinction due to their use in medicinal purpose and as pets. So there were many exploitation of these animals, the tigers. That's why Project Tiger was launched in 1973. Next is 1976, as per 42nd Amendment, 1976 was passed with addition of Article 48A. So you can read this, what are given over here. Next is 1967, 1976, 1980, 1982, 1982, again 1983, 86. So all these are just the Wildlife Protection Act which have been passed by the Government of India along with the organization, the bodies which are responsible for protection of animal species. Okay. Next is critical analysis and position of India. So you can, again, these are the factual information which are given, which you can read yourself. If you have any issues regarding these issues, you can just ask in the comment box. Fine. And we'll move to few very endangered species like Indian tiger. So you can see in the image how Indian tiger looks. So this species also belong to endangered species apart from Ganga's dolphin, gharial, Indian bustard, Indian rhinoceros, Indian wild dog, red panda. So these all animals are at the verge of extinction. You can see where they are found, how many numbers are left of these animals. You can just read them quickly. These are just factual information. And apart from this, you just need to be updated with current affairs. That means which animal are at the verge of extinction, and if any new animal has been found endangered and listed in IUCN list, you just need to be updated for attempting questions from this section. Okay, I hope this part is very much clear to you. If you have any issues regarding this topic, please ask in the comment box. See you in next video with new topic. Thank you for watching. Till then, goodbye.